Welcome to the Network Plus Prepcast, your dedicated audio companion for mastering every objective on the CompTIA Network Plus certification exam. This series is produced by baremetalcyber.com. Validating identity is one of the core challenges in cybersecurity because attackers often pretend to be trusted systems or users. This form of deception allows them to bypass many traditional defenses by exploiting assumptions about authenticity. Techniques like spoofing and impersonation can undermine both technical controls and human judgment. Defending against these methods depends not only on layered security technologies, but also on user awareness and strict verification processes that challenge the assumption of trust at every point. This episode focuses on various methods attackers use to spoof identities and deceive targets. These include IP spoofing at the network level, deauthentication attacks that exploit weaknesses in wireless communication, and social engineering techniques that operate at the human level. Each of these attacks shares a common goal: to manipulate systems or users into granting access that would otherwise be denied. Understanding how these attacks work, what signs they leave behind, and how to defend against them is crucial for both certification readiness and practical security planning. IP spoofing is a technique where the attacker forges the source IP address in an outgoing packet. This allows the traffic to appear as if it originated from a different device, often one that is trusted by the target. IP spoofing is not an attack in isolation. It is usually part of a larger attack chain, such as a denial of service attack or a man-in-the-middle attempt. Because the source address is faked, responses sent to it do not reach the attacker, making this tactic effective only in specific contexts, like reflection or injection attacks. Common use cases for IP spoofing include bypassing access control lists that allow or deny traffic based on source IP addresses. An attacker might forge a trusted address to gain entry into restricted systems. Another scenario is a SYN flood, where large numbers of spoofed connection requests overwhelm a server, consuming resources and causing service outages. IP spoofing can also obscure the attacker's true location by hiding behind a series of false source addresses, making tracing the origin of the attack more difficult. To detect and prevent IP spoofing, networks should validate the paths that packets take. One method is ingress filtering, which ensures that packets entering the network have source addresses consistent with their point of origin. Another control is reverse path forwarding, where routers verify that the source of an incoming packet is reachable through the same interface. These checks help eliminate traffic that does not logically match its expected network path, reducing the success of spoofed packets. Deauthentication is a type of wireless attack that forcibly disconnects clients from their access points. This is done by sending spoofed deauthentication frames, which are management messages in the 802.1 protocol. Because this protocol does not require authentication for these frames, any device can craft and transmit them. When received by a client, the device assumes it has been legitimately removed from the wireless network and disconnects immediately. The impact of deauthentication attacks can range from annoying interruptions to more serious intrusions. One of the most dangerous scenarios is when users are forced to reconnect and are tricked into joining a rogue access point set up by the attacker. Once connected to the rogue AP, the attacker can intercept traffic, capture login credentials, or inject malicious content. This makes deauthentication a key part of many man-in-the-middle attacks over wireless network. Several tools are available that make deauthentication attacks easy to execute. One common tool set is the Aircrack and G Suite, which includes functions for scanning, injecting packets, and capturing traffic. These tools require network adapters that support packet injection in monitor mode. When paired with the right hardware, even novice attackers can launch deauthentication floods with minimal technical effort, making awareness and protection especially important. Social engineering is a technique that targets people instead of systems. Rather than breaking through a firewall or exploiting a software vulnerability, the attacker uses psychological tactics to trick individuals into giving up sensitive information or performing insecure actions. Social engineering is particularly dangerous because it bypasses technical controls entirely and relies on human trust, urgency, or confusion to succeed. There are several forms of social engineering that may appear on the exam. Phishing emails are the most common, often impersonating legitimate services or coworkers to lure users into clicking malicious links or submitting credentials. Pretexting involves the attacker fabricating a scenario that convinces the target to reveal private information. Baiting offers something of value, such as a free USB device or software download which contains malware. Voice calls or vishing use impersonation to extract details like passwords or ID numbers from unsuspecting individuals. The human factor is one of the greatest risks in cybersecurity. Many data breaches begin with a single person making an insecure decision, whether by opening a malicious email or sharing credentials with someone pretending to be technical support. Security training is often the first and most important line of defense against these attacks. Policies must reinforce user behavior, and organizations should build a culture of skepticism where requests for sensitive information are always verified. For more cyber and content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other podcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Training users to recognize social engineering is one of the most effective long-term defenses. Simulated phishing campaigns help organizations measure how well employees can identify and report suspicious emails. These simulations should be repeated over time to reinforce awareness and reduce the likelihood of real-world success. Ongoing education programs that cover current tactics, warning signs, and proper reporting procedures build confidence and create a culture of vigilant reinforcement is key. Awareness must be continuous, not a one-time event. Technical controls can also limit the success of spoofing-based attacks. Access control lists can be written to validate source IP addresses and block known spoofed or invalid traffic. Deep packet inspection can analyze packet content and headers to detect anomalies or malicious patterns. On the Layer 2 level, features like DHCP snooping and IP source guard help enforce IP and MAC address integrity, stopping devices from pretending to be something they're not. These tools create a hardened environment where spoofed traffic is identified and discarded. Wireless security enhancements are essential in defending against deauthentication attacks. Implementing WPA3 with management frame protection helps prevent unauthorized disconnection messages. Unlike earlier protocols, WPA3 validates the authenticity of management frames, making it harder for attackers to craft believable spoofed messages. Disabling open SSIDs also helps reduce the number of exposed networks, while monitoring tools can detect rogue access points or unusual disconnection patterns. These steps significantly strengthen the wireless security posture. Email and messaging protections are critical for countering social engineering. Email authentication standards like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC verify that emails come from trusted sources and haven't been altered in transit. These controls reduce the chance that spoofed messages reach user inboxes. Security tools can also block links that lead to known phishing sites or trigger warnings for attachments with risky behavior. Filters that watch for behavior patterns, like bulk sends or mismatched headers, can catch phishing attempts that evade basic rules. Logging and monitoring play a central role in detecting spoofing and deception attacks. Sudden disconnects from wireless networks, particularly in concentrated patterns, may indicate deauthentication attempts. Tracking login behavior helps identify account takeovers or brute force attempts, especially when access is attempted from unusual locations. Logs of failed authentication attempts, changes in IP source behavior, or abnormal user activity are useful in correlating events and triggering automated defenses or alerts. Honeypots can be used to detect deception-based attacks by presenting attackers with fake systems or services. These decoys are not part of the real network, but appear legitimate to unauthorized users. When accessed, they log the attacker's behavior, gather details on social engineering methods, or capture spoof traffic patterns. Intelligence gained from honeypots can be used to fine-tune defenses, train users on current attack styles, and enrich threat detection systems with real-world data. On the certification exam, you may be asked to match a deceptive attack to its defining characteristics. This could include recognizing IP spoofing by the use of forged source addresses, or identifying a deauthentication attack based on symptoms like sudden wireless disconnects. Understanding the goals and symptoms of each method, along with the right mitigation controls, will help you answer scenario-based questions accurately. The exam also emphasizes layered security, so remember that multiple defenses should work together. Spoofing and deception attacks are built on broken trust. Whether it's a forged IP address, a spoofed wireless frame, or a convincing phishing email, these attacks rely on the assumption that what appears to be legitimate can be trusted. To counter this, trust must be earned through verification, never assumed. Defending against these threats requires not just firewalls or filters, but user awareness, strong authentication, and behavior-based monitoring. IP spoofing, wireless deauthentication, and social engineering each represent a different layer of deception, but all have the same outcome. They undermine confidence in identity and weaken the security of the environment. Addressing these threats requires layered protection, combining technical safeguards with continuous user training. This is a key area of the exam and a critical part of real-world network defense strategies. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Network Plus Prepcast, your trusted audio guide to the CompTIA Network Plus certification. This episode was produced by baremetalcyber.com. For more cybersecurity podcasts, books, and resources, visit baremetalcyber.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cyber Security Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.